Arthur, the Seeing Stone by Kevin Crossley Holland. Read for you by Brandon Reese Taylor on the Jesse Millette YouTube channel. Chapter 1. Arthur and Merlin. Tumber Hill, it's my clamber and tumble and beach and bramble hill. Sometimes when I'm standing on the top, I fill my lungs with air and I shout. In front of me I can see half the world. Far down, almost underneath my feet, I can see our manor house, the scarlet flag dancing, the row of beehives beyond the orchard, the stream shining. I can see Gatty's cottage and count how many people are working in the two fields. Then I look out beyond Caldecott. I gaze deep into thick pike forest and away into the wilderness. That's where the raiders would come from and where Wales begins. That's where the world starts to turn blue. When I'm standing on top of Tumber Hill, I sometimes think of all the people, all the generations who grew up on this ground, and grew into this ground, their days and years. My Welsh grandmother, Nain, says the sounds trees make are the voices of the dead, and when I listen to the beech trees, they sound like whispering spirits. They are my great-uncles and great-great-aunts, my great-great-grandparents, green again and guiding me. When I climbed to the hill this afternoon, I saw Merlin already sitting on the crown, and the hounds bounded ahead of me and mobbed him. Merlin tried to swat them away with the backs of his spotty hands, and scrambled to his feet. "Get away from me," he shouted, "you creatures." "Merlin," I called out, and I pointed to the sky's peak, towering above us. "Look at that cloud." "I was," said Merlin. "It's a silver sword, the sword of a giant king." "Once," said Merlin, "there was a king with your name." "Was there?" "And he will be." "What do you mean?" I demanded. "He can't live in 2 times." Merlin looked at me. "How do you know?" he asked, and his slate-shine eyes were smiling and unsmiling. I don't know exactly what happened next, or rather, I don't know how it happened, and I'm not even quite sure it did happen. First, Tempest pranced up to me with a rock in his mouth. I grabbed the rock and pulled it away, and Tempest growled, and the two of us began a tug-of-war. Tempest was so strong that he pulled me over, and I slithered across the cropped grass. When I let go and looked round again, Merlin wasn't there. He wasn't on the crown of the hill, and he wasn't in the little stand of whispering beeches, or behind the old mound and the raspberry bushes. There was nowhere for him to go. But he wasn't anywhere. "Merlin," I shouted. "Merlin, where are you?" Merlin is strange, and I sometimes wonder whether he knows some magic, but he has never done anything like this before. High on the hill I felt quite giddy. The clouds tossed and swirled above me, and the ground heaved under my feet.